Big Brother Canada 4 has come to a close, which means it's time for another edition of the Reality TV RHAPpy Hour. What's going on, everybody? My name is Jordan Parhar, and I'm with you once again, back from New York and San Diego, at my home, in my little closet that I call a room in Cloverdale, British Columbia, to recap the latest edition of Big Brother Canada 4. And unfortunately, I was supposed to be joined with Johnny Colatrulio tonight, but he is terribly ill. So we're going to reschedule with Johnny. We're going to put him on a later episode further down the line. So you guys are getting a real treat. It's the Big Brother live feed correspondents from RHAPpy.com. They're all with me today to recap the craziness in the BBCan Grand. So first up, give it up for a new man, or a man who has a new nickname. We call him 5 Minutes Flat. It's the great Brent Wolgamott. Brent, how are you?
I'm doing great. By the way, I just want to say, I don't know, but just a few dinguses like us may be able to work this stuff out, and that line was totally not pre-planned either. Assholes. Sorry.
Oh, man. The very big inside joke from New York,
yes.
For those of you.
Yeah.
Maybe if there's a patron cast for the RHAPpy Hour someday.
Right? There we go.
We'll tell you guys where that nickname came from.
Well, we know that there's nothing podcast listeners love more than inside jokes. Right?
No, definitely not.
Yes, you guys know me. You guys can fill in the blanks. You got it.
Yeah, I mean, Brent's not lying here. Yeah. Okay. And you heard his voice already. He didn't have his mic plugged in because he was too busy watching Alex Kidwell's favorite comedies from TNT earlier today. It's the great Taran Armstrong, ladies and gentlemen. Taran, how are you?
I'm great, and I'm not even going to say a joke this time.
Okay, not even saying a joke.
You took them all.
I took them all. Okay, there we go. And last but not least, I don't know what's the name of that show, Alex. I was gonna say you're the #1 fan, but I already forgot what the name
Angie Tribeca. I know what it is.
It's A Touch of Cloth, the one he ignored. The one that I had told him to watch that he completely ignored like all 3 times.
Alex, are you gonna speak or are you just gonna chill?
Yeah, well, I mean, my voice is, wavering. I'm afraid it's gonna go at any time on this show, and I'm exhausted, to be honest. Like after I left New York, I went up to Canada, and I've been working all weekend taking off my clothes for loonies. So it's a rough life, Jordan.
It's a rough life. Jerry Kidwell is back in the house. Okay, guys. So lots of crazy stuff going on Big Brother Canada right now. So we're going to recap the latest episode, but we're not going to talk about the episode for too long today, just because the last 48 hours or so feeds have just been insane with what's been going on there. So just a heads up, we are not unfortunately going to be talking too much about the episode tonight because what was going on doesn't really necessarily reflect what has been now happening on the show. This kind of stuff was all happening before all that craziness. So we'll tease you with that. Just a reminder, we are live on RHAPpy.com, so we are on a Google Hangout. So if you want to get a question in for Taran, Alex, Brent, or myself, you can do so by tweeting me. I'm at Jordan Parhar. Use the hashtag RHAPpyHour, and we will get into those later on in the show. You can also leave a comment on the YouTube video below. That's your best bet for getting your questions in to the show. Okay, all right, so guys, let's just hop right into the episode. The biggest takeaway from this episode, okay, the Pax Bros are HOH. Nick and Phil are running the show. They're going back and forth deciding, all right, do I nominate Maddie and Ramsay? Do I nominate Jared and Kelsey? And really, if this was Survivor, and they knew, they already knew the outcome, so they could edit it however they wanted to. But I was gonna say, they really made it seem like, oh, okay, Jared and Kelsey are gonna go up, because the entire episode it was Jared and Kelsey campaigning to Nick and Phil, Jared and Kelsey complaining about slop, Jared and Kelsey fighting again, fun times, and then miraculously out of nowhere, Tim says, Nick and Phil, don't put up Jared. You should put up Maddie and Ramsay. And what do the brothers do? Well, they put up Maddie and Ramsay, just like that. Alex, is that basically how it went on the feeds? Was it really heavy Jared and Kelsey the entire time, and then at the last minute it switched, or is this just the show playing editing tricks on us?
I mean, I feel like it's a bit of both. I mean, I feel like Taran could probably speak to it better. I was still kind of traveling at the time. But, I definitely think that they were, always impressionable. They were flip-flopping a lot. They were never really, like, sure of their own move. All they wanted to do was just, like, not upset people. And then when that conversation came where it was really Tim in front of everyone saying, like, do you want to be seen as, like, aligned with Maddie? They're like, oh, well, that's, like, Phil. I say they, but it's Phil. Nick doesn't get to do anything. I don't know why he's there. Phil decided, like, is this really a position that I want to be in? Like, no, I feel like this is going to alienate me from the rest of the house. So, like, that really kind of pushed him in the other direction.
Yeah, Taran, so you got home, I think, a little earlier than Alex did. So, yeah, is that you co-signed that?
They basically were going to do what Tim told them to. And so, I mean, basically what happened was Tim initially seemed like he wanted Jared and Kelsey on the block. And he executed that plan masterfully. He went to the brothers and just gave them, regular fatherly advice. They came away from that conversation thinking Tim has our best interests, he wants us to win the game, and we should put up Jared and Kelsey maybe. And they didn't think that he had convinced them to do that at all. They just had that idea. He then went very slyly to Ramsay and coached him up on how to approach the brothers properly. So even though the brothers in the meantime had flipped back to thinking, well, maybe we want to nominate Maddie and Ramsay, Ramsay was able to get in there and hit on all the main points that Tim prepared him for and did really well with it and managed to flip them back again. So at this point, they're locked in. They're going to nominate Jared and Kelsey. And then we see that it takes the combined efforts of both Kelsey and Jared to figure out that they need Tim to do all the work for them. And so out of nowhere, Tim decides, no, I don't want Jared and Kelsey on the block. I want Maddie and Ramsay on the block. And he confronts the brothers very aggressively, very different to how he got Kelsey and Jared on the block, and just basically forces the brothers' hands and tells them, you have to do this or we're all after you. Which really set the brothers' alarms off, and they were like, well, we have to do this. So it's very interesting. It's very weird to think, why did Tim do this? Because Tim had the brothers in his back pocket, and taking out Jared and Kelsey takes away from one of Cassandra's numbers toward the end game and gives Tim his numbers because he has Maddie and Ramsay. So this whole situation was very confusing, and I'll let you guys take on from that.
Yeah. I mean, very confusing is the perfect two words to describe this whole thing. I mean, Brent, like, we didn't really see it on the episode. Has there been any explanation from Tim as to why he would just go back and forth and do this? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense, and it makes no sense to Tim. This isn't spoilerish, but Tim later said after the nominations that he can't believe that Phil didn't have the balls to make the big move. And I'm like, it was your move! What are you saying? Like, you did this. This was all your doing. I will say that I tweeted to Taran. I said this on the Friday show. I'll say it again. I tweeted to him that I thought Tim got bored, and I really do think that's an element of it. You get bored in the Big Brother house. And Tim... it was almost like he was Dan Giesling from Big Brother Canada 1, where he was a coach. He was everybody's coach, and he did well with Ramsay, and he got him coached up on what to say. And then Jared and Kelsey come to him, and they're like, we need help. And he's like, okay, I'll give you help too. So he wants to be fair to everybody, so he gives them coaching advice. The thing that I absolutely hated for Tim was that he did it in this big group of people. So, of course, the brothers felt threatened. They felt like if we don't make this obvious move, then we're going to be targeted by the rest of the house. But this thing was with the ship had sailed by that point. The ship had sailed. The brothers had already told Kelsey that we're going to put you and Jared up. Jared knew that. The whole house knew that. So it was like they just looked like they had been badgered into a corner, and everyone kind of knew it, and everyone kind of knew what had happened. So this wasn't the brothers' move. This was the brothers cowering in the corner, and we got them to do what we wanted to do. I will say that the only good thing that appears to have happened out of this is that there does seem to be some sort of a foundation laid, possibly for Jared and Kelsey to work with the brothers. But that's probably more spoilers territory. We can talk about that because that happened after the episode.
I do have a theory about Tim
Okay,
after
let's
watching
hear it.
the episode. it seemed to me like Tim is used to being the most popular house guest on his season, right? I feel like he was probably surprised a little bit when it was the brothers instead of him next to Nikki.
Right. Yep.
And we saw him right from the beginning in the diary room set the brothers up. Like, they're not gonna, like, are they gonna have the balls to make a big move? And it almost feels like he used his equity in the game to force the brothers to be flip-floppy and make the kind of timid decision as opposed to making the ballsy decision, so that he could call them out in the DR and kind of bury them in the edit, so maybe he could get, you know, a higher place in the audience's esteem. That's the only thing that makes like sense to me from a logical Tim, like, why did Tim do this kind of perspective.
That's an interesting thought. I mean, all I could think while I was watching Tim is I was reminded of a line from Futurama, which I'd like to quote, which is, "Why did you open your bong hole, you smelly hippie? You must have smoked some bad granola."
That was what it was like, though. It was like, why did you open your mouth? Like, I think it was a little bit of peer pressure because Jared and Kelsey jointly came to him, and he was out there with a few other people, and it's not like he could just say in front of all these people, "No, I don't want to help you guys." You know, he wanted to maintain that sort of neutrality in the house, but by helping them, he sort of went the other way. I was flabbergasted by Tim's actions, and then by his subsequent reaction to his own actions, like he forgot what he did. I really do think he forgets that he does these things sometimes.
Well, that's partly why I think that he was in the. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go
ahead. Go ahead. I agree. It doesn't make any. I just don't get it. It's like I want to sit down with Tim after this season, and who knows? Tim's a hard guy to get, but I would love to ask him this kind of stuff because it seems like he has short-term memory loss or something. Like,
well, that's partly why I feel like maybe it is because he's trying to play this edit up, because he's in the diary room saying that the brothers are flip-flopping. Well, he knows why they're flip-flopping. He's the one flip-flopping them.
Yeah.
So it's like he must be playing us in this edit, and I feel like there's something in there with that.
Yeah, Tim's a smart guy. I mean, if anyone is going to be able to pull something like that off or knowingly do that, it is Tim. And if anyone's going to be upset that they're not in the top 2 of Canada's most popular, it is Tim. Right, Brent?
Yeah, and I have a theory about that too. And this is a conspiracy theory. It's mine only. I know the rest of you probably won't co-sign it. But I really don't think that the producers of Big Brother Canada, operative word being Canada, wanted the 2 international house guests to be the top 2 people. If they went to them and said, you know, house guests that Canada voted, and it's Nikki and Tim as the top 2 vote getters, I think that the house would have had a fit, and I don't think it would have been a good look for Big Brother Canada. I think when it comes to these sort of voting things, I'm sorry, I'll be a conspiracy theorist about it. It's very easy for the producers to qualify and disqualify votes and say, no, that was a robot vote. We're not allowing this chunk of votes. You know, what are these votes over here? You know, who's looking at that? I don't know, but I'm just saying I don't think they do not want the look of Nikki and Tim as the top 2 vote getters, and because I was stunned when Tim wasn't one of the top 2 vote getters. I really was.
I hear you, and I think a lot of people probably agree with you. However, Brent, I actually am pretty tight with someone from production, and they talked last year. And going back to like Canadian Idol days, there was a time on. This is very irrelevant, but there was a time on Canadian Idol, and Canadian Idol was produced by the same production company.
Okay.
In which there is one season where it would have benefited the show if one person would have won over the other, and the difference in votes was minuscule. It was like a few thousand. And they easily could have said, all right, person A wins, because that person is going to benefit the show, even though person B was actually the correct person who actually won, and they didn't do that. So I have faith that this is
okay.
This is what happened. And I think anybody who says, oh my gosh, Big Brother Canada, the vote's rigged, go back to Big Brother Canada 2, the secret room, and look at that vote there. I think the producers really were trying to set things up for Scott to get in the house, and he did not get in the house. The online community spoke. They wanted Allison in there, and Allison got in. And so I
Okay. All right.
Maybe I'm naive, but that's what I think. Alex, Taran, thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot to, Tim pointed out in a diary room that he thinks Canada wants to see the brothers step up and do something, that this isn't really so much a sign of their popularity or a testament to how much they're beloved as it is Canada trying to force their hand in a direction because they've kind of floated through the game so far. I think that's a good point. And even, we've talked about it on past episodes. I remember right before we went to New York, I know the show with Rob, Taran and I were talking about how what's the point of this twist? You know what I mean? What are they in there for? And what could we see that would be interesting from the brothers at this point? And really the only thing we could come up with was well, if they got HOH, it might be you might see them butt heads a little bit, or you know what I mean? So that was the one scenario where the brothers could have provided something different. And I guess we got something very similar to kind of the game they've been playing so far. So I guess we shouldn't be that surprised, but that's, I think, the direction a lot of people went with the vote.
Yeah, that's Big Brother, right? Is we always expect oh yeah, it's been like this the whole game, but you know what? Now, the brothers have been playing this way, but now that they're HOH, things are finally going to change. They're really going to make a move, and yeah, no, Tim, once again, working his magic. Okay, guys, I think we've talked about the episode long enough based on what's been going on the live feeds. So if you do not want to know what's been going on the feeds, then we will bid you farewell. We will see you on Wednesday night after the episode because we've got a lot to get into and a lot to break down. But please stick around because there's a lot of good stuff that you don't want to miss. And even the Big Brother Canada's Twitter and Facebook basically spoiled what's been going on the feed. So there you go. Okay, here we go. Spoiler time. Taran, fill us in. What is the craziness that's going on in the house right now?
All right, so I guess it was yesterday. Ramsay got some news about a family emergency, and we were told that Ramsay was going to be leaving the house today early in the morning, and that he may or may not be coming back. The feeds were out most of the day, and when they came back, it was announced that Ramsay had decided to leave the game. He went to see his father, who I believe is very ill and needs some surgery. And I guess it was serious enough that he decided that he needed to leave the game to be with his family. I think he came back to tell the other house guests after that had happened. It's very upsetting. I think Ramsay was in a good place in the game. He had one veto, so he was safe this week. He was my dark horse to win. And I really hope that him and his family are doing well and continue to do well in the future.
Yeah, I think that this is really sad. I mean, there's a lot of time. I think with Big Brother, I think a lot of times the fans and us and whoever, we really get caught up in we get upset and we're just like, oh my gosh, so mad at the game and all this stuff. But that's exactly what this is it's a game and it's a TV show. And with what's going on with Ramsay right now, I mean, this is it shows that these are real people. They have real things going on, and a lot of times, life is way more important than this silly game and silly TV show that we talk about. So I think that, I think everybody's behind Ramsay in this. My thoughts and condolences to Ramsay and his family. I think this is just awful, and I hope that his family is okay, and I hope that his father is okay, because this is just terrible, and it's not something that we really want to see at all. Brent, did we see was there any sign of Ramsay's, was there any talk of Ramsay's dad being ill before this incident happened?
No, this really came out of nowhere, which makes it all the more odd. It just came out of nowhere. That's all I'll say about it. I don't really know what to make of it. I feel badly for him. I agree with Taran that he was on a glide path to the end, although I will say that after this veto win, there was a little bit of rumbling from a few of the house guests that maybe it's better, or maybe in weeks coming we should take out Ramsay because he's a really strong competitor. So they were starting to fear him a little bit, and he's an incredibly likable guy, so I think they saw that. Having said that, I don't think anybody would have really come for him because he's such a trustworthy guy, wears his heart on his sleeve, and I really don't think has a dishonest bone in his body that I've been able to discern. So I think he would have been there at least to the Final 5, Final 4, and who knows what happens then.
Alex, do you think Ramsay could have won this game if he stuck around?
Yeah, it's totally possible. I don't
What
think
what
it's.
what were his odds if he'd stuck around? Would you put a lot of stock in him or no? Was he where are you on that in that stance there?
Well, Taran used the term dark horse for a reason. He wouldn't have been like a front runner. I mean, he was probably 10 to 15% to win, but that doesn't mean he was. That's better than a lot of the people left in this game actually, because there's plenty of people in this game probably lower than that, and he was going up every week.
Yeah, and a lot of people had tanked their games this week, which really put a lot of stock back into his game. But unfortunately, with him leaving, that goes away.
And there was also an incident prior to this, which I don't know if so apparently Ramsay and Maddie, this has not been confirmed, but they allegedly there was coitus in the house. Alex, did that happen?
It's hard to know for sure. Big Brother Canada is not Big Brother US in that they like to, anytime anything seems like it's going to be anything, they're going to be quick to cut the feeds. Certainly people have imaginations, especially those on things like the Big Brother Reddit and other places where you can just kind of make mountains out of molehills in terms of little whisper comments and stuff like that. But there is some rumblings about the possibility that Maddie was backdoored in the game, and I'm not talking about strategy or anything.
Jade!
Well, personally, I'm glad. I mean, it sucks for Ramsay, but I'm glad that this is going to be his legacy, not that. I think he goes out on top. I think that he goes out honorably, and I commend him for doing that. I think any of us, if we were in that situation, we're in the game, and you got a family member sick, you're gonna leave. I mean, no questions asked. So all the best to Ramsay and his family, and it sucks. It sucks. It's an awful situation.
I will say that Ramsay's terrible misfortune is a little bit of good fortune for the light feeders, because Maddie, if she stays this week, and I don't know that she's going to, she's fabulous. I love Maddie on the feeds. I'm one of the few Maddie fans out there. I really love her. I think she brings an interesting aspect to the game, and she's not a nice girl, unlike Ramsay, who's a really nice guy. So I enjoy seeing her on the feeds. That's the thing. We don't really know what's going to happen this week. We don't know if the brothers are going to have to put up a replacement nomination against Maddie. We don't know if it's going to be like Big Brother 11, I think, where Shima went home and she was one of Michelle's initial nominations, and thus Michelle's HOH reign was complete. So I think that's probably the more fair way to do it, but I don't know what the producer's call is going to be here. Ramsay was one of the initial nominations. They stated in their initial diatribe in the diary room that they wanted to break up this couple of Maddie and Ramsay. So they got their wish. One of that couple is not broken up. I don't think it's really fair to let them now do something else. But that, I don't know, you guys may disagree with me on that. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm biased.
Yeah.
I totally put my bias out there.
Yeah, Taran, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see a little bit of BB14 where basically Frank got 2 HOHs for the price of 1 when Willie Hance got expelled from the game? Or do you think that we're just going to see the episodes continue, go all the way through, and then on Thursday they announce, oh, but by the way, Ramsay has left the game, for those of you who have not been paying attention to the internet at all, and surprise, there's no eviction?
I don't want them to surprise them. If they did reset, that's probably what they would do. That's not what I would want them to do. I'd want them to be warned. But I do think that a kind of reset, a new HOH, is the fairest way to go about it. I think that Ramsay was on the block, and he went home. And to give them another person to take out is a little overpowered, not to mention the fact that Ramsay did win the veto, and who's to say that, maybe Ramsay before he left would have wanted to use it on Maddie, and then are we saying that his veto was invalid despite winning it? There's a lot. I feel like the safest, and there is precedence for this. When Shima leaves, obviously they do the HOH again because Shima is one of the targets. And I think that's an important part. I think if it's somebody irrelevant, then maybe there's a case for it to be said that the HOH should remain in place and they should get to take out one of their targets. But Ramsay was on the block, and so I feel like they should do the HOH competition over. But this is Big Brother Canada, so I have very little faith that they're going to do what's most fair.
Right.
And I think that they're going to do what's most entertaining. And
that's
especially,
the thing. I feel like this is the most entertaining. So I'm hoping that they surprise us here, Taran, and give us what we want.
But I also don't trust them to know what's the most entertaining.
Yeah, that's true.
Alex, what do you think they should do? If all of a sudden I give you the keys to Big Brother Canada production, what do you do in this spot?
No one's making me that offer, Jordan. But I think
I'm making it to you now, Alex. Here you go. It's your lucky day. What do you do?
well, that's great, but I don't think anyone's giving you the authority to do that. I think that it's a situation where ultimately, I mean, it's been touched on a little bit, but there is no fair way to handle it, really. You know, it's a circumstance that is super unfortunate for not just Ramsay, but for, you know, I mean, to a little bit production and to everyone else, because it does play a role in the game and the season and the course of what they're trying to do. So, you know, there's not a perfect answer because it's just something that kind of like throws a wrench into kind of the mechanics of the game by removing someone midweek. So, you know, either you're going to, you know, go the one route and, you know, the brothers HOH is going to come off as a little overpowered, or the other route, and then it's, I guess, maybe a little underpowered. But either way, yeah, I mean, it's just something that's going to not be perfect. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, the lesser of two evils probably is, as these guys discussed, just to, you know, have it be a new week, given that a nominee went home. But, you know, it's not, there's no great solution either way.
Yeah, it's tough. They're in a really, I think they're in a bind. I'm sure that a lot of the producers are losing sleep right now because I don't think this is the first time this has happened in Canada. We've never had somebody leave the game because of a mitigating factor. We've never had someone leave. So this, yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen. I think personally, I don't know. I think they're just gonna go ahead and do it though. I really do.
Do what?
Go ahead with the eviction. Because the veto is supposed to be tomorrow,
right.
And I think in terms of, you know, sheer entertainment, I think that if they just stop the week now. I mean, it's Sunday today, and there hasn't really been, the feeds are back up now, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the House guests there's been no announcement as to the veto or anything like that. Have the House guests been talking about that at all?
Yeah, they've been wondering. Cassandra and Kelsey, right as the feeds were coming back, they were like, "What's going to happen?" Like, we really hope that we're going to still get to evict Maddie, but they haven't.
I hope they don't give them what they want. They all want Maddie out. Don't give it to them. Don't do it.
So, well, this is interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, these guys don't even know yet. So, I mean, if they don't do it now, I mean, we still have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's 4 days where if they I feel like they're not going to tell them straight up. They wouldn't just say, "Hey guys, we're just going to do a whole new week right now. We're going to do, you know, HOH, all this stuff." I don't think they would do that because all the competitions are so planned and there's all that stuff, and they've already done the veto and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think that would happen. But at the same time, I don't think they want them to think, "Oh, okay, we have 4 days off, or we don't really have to do anything. We're just going to chill, and this is going to be boring, and no one likes to see that." So I think they'll probably. What I would guess is that they'll make, because Ramsay won the veto and he has left, I'm going to assume that they're going to tell the brothers, "Hey, you got to put somebody on the block." They're going to nominate somebody. And then on Thursday, I do think that they will say, "Hey, psych, just kidding," like BB14, and say there is no eviction this week because somebody already went home. And that's going to create drama because the brothers are going to target someone, and that's going to be, I think that would probably be the most entertaining / fair way for them to do this kind of stuff right now.
And then have like a double eviction that night, you think, or what?
Well,
It would be an actual fake eviction.
Yes,
Yeah.
It would be an actual fake eviction because no one would be going home. Yeah, I don't know. They could do a double that night, but normally they would announce a double. So
yeah, and they also,
I don't know.
to be clear, Marissa said that this coming week was going to be a family affair, and I don't know what she meant by that. Do you have any thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. So family affair, and then Alex, did you see that they're having a UFC fighter come on the show as well?
Yeah, and then somebody told me that him and his girlfriend were like the first out from, you know, Amazing Race Canada 3 or something like that. I don't know, like what kind of synergy this is. I don't even think that's the same network.
It's not the same network. It isn't. That's Amazing Race is on CTV and Big Brother's on Global. So I don't know how. Yeah, well done, Alex. I don't know how, like, contractually, at least people are not allowed, I know, to go from Big Brother to Amazing Race within 1 year because of the different network thing. So I guess it doesn't matter.
Well,
but I guess
this
there's
is my thing. Like, my thing was this: that if they want to do like a double eviction on Thursday, I feel like they said this whole thing about a family affair, but that their numbers are now messed up because they were initially going to have X amount of people, but now they have X amount of people minus one. So I don't know if they were planning on pairing people together, maybe, or I know it's kind of we're in a weird space right now because we're all just speculating and we don't know anything to tell you guys, and I wish we knew more.
Yeah, well, that would make if it is going to be a pairs thing, it would make sense for them to not send anyone home because there currently are 8 in the house with Ramsay leaving, so there is an even number. So if it was they evicted Maddie or whoever else, then I guess then that would get messed up. So who knows? Quickly, Taran, if let's say hypothetically they decide to evict someone else this week, and the brothers have to put someone on the block tomorrow, fill the audience in. Who are the brothers targeting as of this hour, or as of the last time they were discussed that situation?
Okay, I just want to quickly say in the chat they're saying that family nominations is something that the international Big Brothers have done in the past as a twist. So people are speculating maybe that family members will play for HOH in lieu of the house guests or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But getting to the brothers. So there's more that goes down with Tim and the brothers following the veto. First of all, after Tim convinces them to put up Maddie and Ramsay instead of Jared and Kelsey, they are really sketched out by Tim. They're like, what's going on? Why did he pressure us to do this after kind of convincing us to go the other way beforehand? So they had a talk with Jared where they compared notes, and they said, Jared, is Tim telling you that he wants you to win the game? Because he's telling us he wants us to win the game. And Jared was like, yeah, that's basically what's happening. And they realized that Tim is playing all sides, and that he's not with them. He's a manipulator, floater person. So Tim's game is fully out in the open to them. After the veto, Ramsay wins, and Tim makes it so much worse because he again flops. He talks with Ramsay and Maddie, and he decides, I'm going to try and get the brothers to backdoor Jared. He goes up to the brothers and tries to make this happen, and they're just, at this point, they're already onto them. They already know that this is like his MO at this point, so they are just livid with him. They're like, why would we do this? You're just trying to mess up our game. And this is really like some of the first resistance we've seen to Tim's manipulation, other than Mitch. And we saw this a little bit with Mitch during the Dallas week where Tim was starting to get frustrated because he couldn't out-manipulate Mitch, and we're seeing it now again where he got really frustrated with the brothers and was just like, well, I mean, fine, I'll let you do whatever you want, but just so you know, like, that's the pussy way to do it, basically. Like you're going to chicken out, you're just going to follow the majority. And really, really, really angered the brothers. They went upstairs. They were, like, livid. They were like, we need, you know what, screw Maddie. We're going to take out Tim. We're going to nominate Tim. We're going to backdoor him. We're going to take him out of this game. We're going to call a house meeting. We're going to get everyone against him. We need to send him home immediately. They went to bed after that, and Ramsay left the house the morning after. The feeds have been out. Now that they're back, we don't know. They have calmed down, but they have said if we're putting somebody up, it's still going to be Tim. Whether or not that they're still going to be targeting Tim over Maddie is to be seen.
Alex, do the brothers, have they been having a little case of HOH-itis this week?
Yes. Although Phil had a great line today. It was like, it's a good thing I played this well. Didn't get HOH-itis this week. And it's like,
yes. He said this was
kind of thing you say.
The cleanest extraction ever.
One of those things where it's like if you're telling people you're attractive, you're probably not. You know what I mean? But Jordan, I had an actual thought. What do you think about this for the twist? So there's one person on the block now, right?
Yep.
Mitch gets to come in and see if he can get himself off the block against Maddie. See, put him in the hole, but see if he can fight his way out.
Oh my gosh!
I said I was going to tweet this, but I decided to save it for the show. If they do, because of Ramsay leaving, if they do revive a hamster and either Mitch or Raul comes back and effing Raul comes back, I'm off the show. I'll see you guys in Big Brother 18. I'm good. Girl, bye. See you later. Adios.
Oh my gosh! That would be. I mean, if Mitch came back, that would be just so amazing.
That would be so perfect.
I feel like the show is missing something without him, really. Right? I mean, he went too soon. We didn't get to see him go head to head with Tim, and now his game is crumbling, and it's just like we got robbed of something so great.
JP, we did get to see Tim go head to head with Mitch, and he lost. He lost the week of the Dallas eviction. Dallas went home. Mitch won. Tim was about to pay the consequences for that, being backed into a corner, and then effing Kelsey comes back into the house and totally bails him out. So this is the second time that this has happened with Tim, where he's sort of gone off the rails a little bit and gotten a little too cute by half. And I'm thinking he's going to have to pay for it this time. I don't think there's anything that's going to be able to save him. Although, then again, with Ramsay going home, that may end up saving him. Tim just may have 9 lives.
And have you guys noticed that ever since Mitch left, like the show has turned Cass into Vanessa Russo?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where's that? That was not the edit you gave her 3 weeks ago.
Right, and like don't get me wrong, like Cass is probably one of the better players left in the house.
Yeah.
Yes.
But she is nowhere near what they're portraying her to be.
She's not Netta.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is the edit that she's getting, and it's weird because I mean, yes, she's very. And I think maybe it's because she's very entertaining in the diary room, and I think that they want to pump her up a lot because of that, and they want some because I think there has been some people online saying, oh, well, there's like no clear like face of this season outside of Tim and Nikki or whatever. Well, Mitch, but now he's gone. So they're trying to find that person, that mastermind that's a Canadian who's also great in the DR. And they're trying to build up Cass, and that's what they're trying to do.
I agree, but this is the thing. She has such a low bar to compete against because you guys saw on the episode tonight. These people are playing a game. They're trying not to be evicted. You saw that Jared did not even want to go to the brothers and talk. Like, literally, Kelsey had to peel him off of the couch and get him to go talk to them. And even then, she needed Tim to hold his hand and go talk. Like, he couldn't do it on his own. These are things we take for granted in Big Brother US or in previous Big Brother Canadas. Like, people, you have a working relationship with everybody in some semblance so that if they get HOH, you're at least have some foundation to argue to them that I'm working with you, I have your best interests at heart. Jared can't be bothered by that. And then he sits there and whines that, what is everyone's fascination with me? Well, it's because you're not making people feel safe. That's what people's fascination is with you.
And this is the guy that the brothers now fully trust.
Oh,
they want to go to the end with him. They think they can bro down with him. Phil even said at one point, and I'll just flirt with Kelsey the whole time. Nick was like, no, maybe you shouldn't. And he was like, nah, he won't care.
And that's the thing. It's like, Cass isn't bad, but like, she's sitting there. She's like, literally, it's a bunch of blind people, and she has like the one eye in the room. I mean, it's really what's going on here.
Really, that's really what happened. JP, this is the thing that I started to spoil a little bit, and I shut my mouth. Like, Nick and Phil literally are talking about going to the final 3 with Jared and Kelsey. And I think they kind of forget sometimes that they're not 2 people. They're 1 person. Yep. And they only have 1 vote. And so if you go to the end with Jared and Kelsey, you're going to be the odd, quote-unquote, man out. They literally trust Jared right now. They think he's willing to bro down with them. Meanwhile, Kelsey is talking to Cassandra saying, if it's a double eviction, who are you going to nominate? They all agree. The brothers are the target. Nikki's probably going to be the pawn. They're going to try to get the brothers out. If Jared is the head of household, I don't see any universe where Kelsey allows him to not nominate the brothers.
Yeah, he has said, like, I'm not sure if I can do it now, but that's the kind of thing you say before it's actually in your hands.
Right.
And when it's in your hands, you don't let your morals get in the way. We've seen that time and time again in Big Brother.
And the brothers had it initially and then backed off of it, which is the correct read, which is as soon as you win HOH, what is people's body language? And Jared was like, oh, man, this is terrible. I can't believe they get everything handed to them. This is ridiculous. These guys are such idiots. I don't know why this is happening. This is like, I would never deal with this in my personal life. Like, so it really is just like, again, like, see that, read it, process it, let it marinate, and then be like, oh, use it. You know what I mean? Like, he's giving you the information.
Exactly, and the thing, JP, that most people don't realize is that Maddie and Ramsay were the two people in the house who would not have nominated the brothers.
Exactly.
Everyone else wants them out, and they can't see that. They're taking out someone from their own side.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, that really seems to be the theme of this season is take out people who are on my own side.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. It's like week 5 of Big Brother Canada 3 all over again, just rolled all into one whole season. I just don't understand.
They also have full confidence that they can win any competition, physical competition for sure. And now that they're getting Maddie out, they can win all the mental competitions. Maddie was their biggest mental threat.
Like, okay, that I thought was, I mean, on the show, in the speech when Nick said that, I just thought, oh, okay, this is good. He's trying to, carry favor, for when they vote out Maddie, so when she's in the jury, she'll be like, oh, well, they said I'm really smart, so I'll vote for them. But that, genuinely, they think Maddie is the smartest player in the house?
They think she's the big. They've
fear her.
talked themselves into it because they need to reinforce their decision because they were so indecisive and they've gone so much in the other direction that they legitimately think Maddie is our biggest threat in the game. She's the biggest threat to win in the house, and we can't beat her in a mental competition. With her gone, we can win all the competitions.
Like, just team up with Maddie, okay? She'll keep... And Maddie is also the type of person where she's very vengeful. If you take a shot at Maddie, she's not going to forget that. And if you're loyal to Maddie, she's going to stick with you. So, I mean, like, if they... Like, hypothetically, okay, let's say that the bros took a shot... Pax bros take a shot at Jared and Kelsey this week. Ramsay has to leave. Maddie is by herself, basically. Would she not just team up with the Pax bros the rest of the way?
And who's to say that, Maddie's a very affectionate young girl. Who's to say that in a week and a half with no Ramsay in the house, she's not, like, friends with Nick again?
Right?
Right?
I don't get it. I mean,
Perfect.
it's just like this season. I mean, I've loved watching this as a fan, but at the same time, there are just the players on this season have just frustrated me so many times watching it because they just, for whatever reason, it's laying out there in front of them, and you just don't get it. But at the same time, I've been there, and I'm sure many people you guys were all screaming at me last season because it was all out in front of me and I didn't see it. And it's hard when you're in there; you're not completely omniscient. But at the same time, I don't know.
I will say this: that I do believe that there is an element of Phil and to a lesser extent Nick, but mainly Phil, because he's the only one playing at this point, who. They want to be they see themselves as part of the cool kids, and to be seen as going with Maddie and Ramsay, who are considered like the outsiders of the house, that would not be the cool kids alliance. Like, they want to be over here on the left side with Jared and Kelsey and all the quote unquote pretty people. Okay, I do believe that there's an element of them that thinks this. They said earlier that even Tim, like he's normally like Tim's used to be in the alpha dog. He's not used to sitting with the pretty people like us or the cool kids like us. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was basically something that you just like literally like your head was on the desk. So I think there's an element to Phil and Nick that is also driving their decisions, which is a little bit of their insecurity. Taran and Alex both talked about this last week, where we talked about how Phil was feeling a little insecure in the house, not quite being himself, and I think that he's going to make decisions that correspond to those insecurities, and I think this is one of them. Not going after Jared and Kelsey.
Yeah, I can see that totally. I mean, and also, the cool kid thing. I think that is definitely a thing, especially if you were a quote-unquote cool kid in real life. If you go in there and you're not accepted as one of the cool kids, you want to be accepted as one of the cool kids. It's weird. That's what you seek. Whereas if you're not, if you're more of the dorky people like Joel, then you don't really care. You kind of just go in there and you be yourself, and it is what it is. Interesting point from Puya in the chat. He's saying, what do you guys think if production decided to make up for the loss of Ramsay? What if they decided to split the brothers? Taran, what do you think about that if production decided to go ahead with that decision?
Well, I don't think they'd split the brothers in the house. I think a lot of people are speculating that maybe for the jury vote they'd split the brothers, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it also wouldn't surprise me if they gave Canada the vote. Just because they probably didn't explicitly say we won't split the brothers in the jury, but I don't think I don't think they'll split them in the house.
I don't think they'll split the brothers. The brothers will act as one person. Phil will make the call on if they're in the jury, who they're going to vote for. They're going to give it to Canada as the final juror. They did this in Big Brother 2, where Canada voted for John to win over Sabrina. I feel like they love that sort of thing. In fact, I think it's sort of baffling to me that they don't already build it into the jury where Canada gets a vote. I mean, I know these two boys probably hate that. But I kind of like that. I mean, if you're going to be like Big Brother Canada and we're a little different and we have our twists, like why doesn't Canada always get a vote? Like if that's the way you're going to play it.
JP, would you rather Canada get a vote or somebody join you in the voted off the jury club?
Ooh, I mean, it would be fun if someone else got voted off the jury because then we would have like that kindred bond for the rest of
go
time.
out for lunch and like
Yeah, I feel like they'd vote off. I feel like they'd vote off Mitch because he's gettable for anybody. So I feel like Mitch would probably be the person to like.
Best friends with Mitch.
That's a pretty cool founding member to start your fraternity with, there.
Right.
Well, if you're best friends with Mitch, you'd better get me an in.
Okay, well, Taran, we'll get you on Big Brother Canada, and then we'll figure it out. But selfishly, I'll make 2 points. Selfishly, I kind of don't want them to vote someone out of the jury, selfishly and selflessly, because it sucks when you're in the jury for 5 weeks and your vote doesn't count. I mean, that kind of sucks. And also, selfishly, I like having that title.
It's
my thing. So I do like to have that. The second point, Taran, of being in a club exclusively with Mitch, I'm going to inform you right now, I actually am in an exclusive club with Mitch. It's called the Heads of Jury Household, the person who was the first member of the jury. It's a very esteemed group. It is now A.J. Berman from Season 1, Arlie Shaban, Jordan Parhar, and Mitch Moffitt from Season 4. So there you go. The heads of jury.
What a motley crew you have there.
I know, right? AJ's the captain. It's pretty.
Speaking of Mitch, I just want to tell you guys that Alec Beal just tweeted, quote, "Pretty crazy how Mitch lost to these people." That's so true,
Alex, right?
Like, how did that happen? Tell me how that happened again. Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay, guys, let's take some of your questions. Make sure you leave a comment on YouTube, and also you can tweet me. I'm at Jordan Parhar. Use hashtag RHAPpy. Okay, here we go. This one is from Nate Hall. Nate Hall says, JP and company, does Ramsay's unfortunate exit give him an increased chance of seeing him return for Big Brother Canada All-Stars? Also, who is the biggest beneficiary to Ramsay leaving the game? Okay, Alex, I'll throw it to you. Do you think that this increases Ramsay's chances of getting called back for an All-Star season?
Probably a little bit. If they did like a second chances theme, then like 1,000%.
And do you see him getting a call back as of right now, or are you?
Hell no.
I feel like he wouldn't make an All-Stars cast, but again, now if they did ever decide to do like a second chances format, I think Ramsay is like a prime candidate, because he didn't get to really, finish his arc the first time, right?
For sure. Taran, who is the biggest beneficiary of Ramsay leaving?
It's kind of hard because Ramsay was kind of like the Godfrey of the season, where he wasn't really attached to anyone but Maddie. Obviously, if this causes Maddie to stay in the house, it's probably her. Beyond that, it probably benefits Jared. I think that taking those pieces off the board is going to work for him because he's not somebody that's good at collecting those pieces. Even though he did have a relationship with Ramsay, I feel like Ramsay was a piece to be used against Jared, and now that Ramsay's not there, especially if Maddie also goes, Jared is in a better position for it.
Brent, you seem to question that a little bit.
Well, I mean, I just felt like Ramsay had a really good working relationship with the two alpha dogs in the house in terms of the brothers and Jared. So I feel like the primary beneficiary to me looks like Cass. I mean, she's going to need a few people on her side eventually as we get down to the end game here, and I don't really see Ramsay working with Cass. I always see him broing down with the bros once Maddie was going to be, obviously evicted, and that's not happening now. So I don't know. I think Cass is the primary beneficiary of Ramsay leaving.
Alex, what do you think? Because I was thinking it was Tim, because now Tim doesn't get backdoored in this scenario and he has no risk of going home.
Well, the problem is if the brothers then get to make another nomination, like to replace Ramsay still, if they decide to go that route, then Tim could still potentially be in danger. I think, like I think Taran's point is more like who was in a bad place that is now in a good place, because Cass was in a great place, but now she's in an even better place. Because yeah, I mean, really, who's coming after Cass now? There's nobody in the house who's going to target her, like even first or second. I don't think she's anyone's nomination right now. And yeah, I mean, at this stage of the game, that's crazy. You know,
Except
like,
Nikki.
that's like yeah, Nikki maybe, but
Yeah.
like that's like an Andy Herron type of situation, and it's not like she's played the Andy Herron game. I mean, she's certainly not been as subtle, so it's pretty impressive.
By the way, Tim is saying on the feeds right now, or just a few minutes ago, he was having a conversation with Cass. I think it's really interesting because I never heard him really talk about this before, where he was saying that he has come to the realization that he believes that Nikki is his biggest roadblock to get to the end with Cass. And I don't know if he's saying this just because he's with Cass, but because I have a hard time believing that Tim would really want to get rid of Nikki, because I feel like of anybody, he probably has the most control over her. But I can see where he would be threatened by Nikki, because they're going through different scenarios about how do we get Nikki out of the house, and they haven't really been able to come up with one yet. And I agree with them. I don't see currently a scenario with this many people voting where you could get Nikki voted out of the house over somebody else. I think Nikki would always stay.
Yeah, I think we can co-sign that for sure. Okay, here's this one. This one is from Rhaegar Targaryen. He says, and he just makes a comment. He says, Jordan said, if you're loyal to Maddie, she will stick with you. Tell that to Levita and Dallas. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. So, yeah, maybe not. But I don't know. Don't you guys think if the brothers wouldn't have taken a shot at Maddie this week, she would have been cool with them at least for a few more weeks, right, Taran?
Maddie was, I mean, prior to the whole Tim exposing his game, Maddie was going to do whatever Tim told her to do. Whereas Jared and Kelsey were almost always going to go after the brothers. So it wasn't like Maddie was always going to be loyal to them, but there was at least a chance with Maddie. And I feel like had Tim kind of stuck to his guns and kept his soldiers in line, they could have fallen in behind him as one of his soldiers who would have been protected by that umbrella.
Although it should be noted, Rhaegar Targaryen does know a thing or two about betrayal.
That is true.
Hey, I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
I've been thinking about this ever since we saw it on the feeds and we saw it on the show tonight. Okay, so you're Tim. You're playing all sides at this point. You have previously campaigned for Maddie and Ramsay to not be nominated, for Jared and Kelsey to be nominated. Jared and Kelsey then come to you when you're in a group of people outside, like he was, and say, Tim, we need your help. The brothers listen to you. Can you please go with Jared? How does Tim extricate himself from that situation? Because I feel like it was a little bit of bad luck that it happened the way it did, where it was in a group of people, and he felt compelled to argue against a previous point that he had just been arguing to other people. Like, what was Tim supposed to do there that would have gracefully gotten himself out of essentially reversing all the work he had just done?
He's done similar things in the past, where he's kind of put in a corner and you talk you talk your way out of it. You make a subtle kind of half-assed approach that seems like you're giving it your all, but you're not really. And he's done that in the past, but instead he went really aggressive. And then also what you do afterward is you go up to the brothers, you get them alone, and you go, hey, listen, Jared came up to me, like he put me in a weird spot. I'm not actually on their side. It was just because he was there and he was pressuring me. But that's not what he did. He followed through afterward. They even gave him an out. They were like, listen, what were you just doing that because Jared was there? And he was like, oh, no, I'm indifferent, whatever. And they were like, what is with you?
Right?
Yeah, what he should have done is tell Jared he was going to engage the brothers for him and do that whole scenario and have everyone out there and then kind of ambush the brothers like he did and be like, well, Jared has some things to say. I'm going to go poop. I'll see you guys a little later. Let me know how it goes. And, yeah, good chat. All right.
Right, and
that would have been great to see. I would have loved that.
I do dump on her a lot, so I'll give her props. Like I said on the Friday show, say what you want about Kelsey, but she got the job done. I mean, she got Jared off of his butt.
Somehow.
I don't know if
It's her doing.
her.
Not
I'm
from
sorry.
her doing.
I've complained about her so much, and I think she's sort of horrible. So I mean, like the fact that she did something that was good gameplay, or at least passable gameplay. Let's call it that.
Passable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sort of stunned by.
Yeah, because it wasn't Kelsey's doing. It was Tim. I mean, Kelsey.
Well, no, but
Kelsey,
she would have. yeah, she got the ball rolling. Like
Let's
that would
call
never have happened if it wasn't for Kelsey.
Let's call it what it is. Kelsey didn't just give up and lie down and die.
Yes.
That's what she did.
She went right upstairs and said, "Hey guys, I've thought some thoughts, and I wanted to." I swear. And I'm like, wordsmith Kelsey, add it, add going to work.
Like
Thoughts
like
and thoughts.
we have come to expect Kelsey as the player that flips the table over when she thinks she's losing, and she refrained from doing that this time. So that's the credit we can give her.
That is true, because normally Kelsey would just be like, "Oh yeah, all right, it's over. I'm done." So she did try. So we got to give her.
She can get the most improved award.
We'll give her a participation ribbon.
That's what I'll give her. Yes.
We do appreciate effort. That's absolutely true.
Yes, effort is important. Okay, here this one is from Alistair Hawkins. He says, "What's Joel's position in the game looking like right now? It seems like he's not an immediate target for anyone. Is he safe till late in the game?" Alex, from what you've seen, what is your thoughts on Joel's position as of right now?
Yeah, I mean, no one's worried about Joel. Joel's just being Joel, and I mean, he's probably safe to Joel on for another 2 or 3 weeks at least. So, go ahead.
I'm going to make a bold prediction, okay? Maybe it's not that bold, but I'm calling my shot. I said on Friday when I was hosting RHAPpy that I didn't want to make a winner prediction because everything changes so fast in Big Brother, especially this season. But Joel's going to win. I'm calling my shot. Joel's going to win this game because nobody's thinking about Joel. He's just chilling. He's doing whatever. He's going to win a couple comps at the end of the game, and he's going to win. And then at the end of the season, the nerdy superfan guy with glasses is going to be retired, and we won't see this archetype on Big Brother anymore because they just win every single season.
He'll reveal that he's Steve from the future.
Exactly.
He really is. He's playing. He's in the Steve spot. I don't think he's actively playing like Steve was. I think Steve was very aware of what was going on. I think Joel is less aware of what's going on, especially with Cass, but he is in the same spot. So I don't have as much faith that Joel will know what to do in the end game like Steve did, like knowing to cut Vanessa. But
Exactly.
but I do think he will be there because he's exactly on that trajectory.
And that's all you need. I feel like for me at this point, for me to put my money on someone is just that you're there, because just getting there is hard enough. And I'm a little biased because I love Joel. Okay, let's see. I think we might be out of questions for this one, guys. Oh my goodness, this is.
Questions? Can I rant more?
Yeah, rant. Okay, well, Brent, rant some more. I'm gonna look for one more from Twitter. Quick, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I won't rant, but just like the producers, give us what we want. You know what we want. It's plainly obvious what needs to happen here. Although I will say that I understand if they just go ahead and name another nomination and let the brothers do that, it will be because of the whole we need to make 2 more competitions. Although then again, they could just like throw some podiums out there with A and B and ask some freaking questions and get a new HOH that way. I mean, it ain't that hard. I mean, I could do one in my living room right now.
I'd also like to add that I thought tonight's Have Not competition would have been a phenomenal head of household competition, which we didn't have, and why? Why couldn't this have been the HOH?
Yes.
It was really good. I didn't think it worked nearly as well as the Have Not than it would have as a HOH.
By the way,
It was
I
an
thought
individual competition.
Maddie did a great job spreading her legs there. Talked about that.
She's got good core strength.
She does. Maddie's good in these comps. She's good in these comps. Okay, here we go. One last question. This one is from my boy Puya, at Puyaism on Twitter. He says, having lived with each other for a week, if you guys played Big Brother with each other, who would you target first?
I'm the goat. I'm the Nikki.
So
I don't know,
Brent,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Game.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel
We
like
saw your social game in play in New York.
Yeah,
who,
I feel
mine?
like-
No, Brent's.
Oh, Brent's.
No, it's true.
Brent's was good.
Yeah.
Brent's was very good. Brent has a
I don't
good...
know. Well, we had Colin, so we have to think about him. Like, I take Colin to the final 2, and I
Oh,
marry.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Colin Stone going to final 2 with Brent. Alex, I imagine you would probably put up Taran and I first because we didn't watch your show.
Since when am I that petty, Jordan? No, I'd put up you and Taran because, but I'd get rid of Taran as quickly as possible because that guy scares me.
Oh, come
wow.
on, dude.
Yeah.
Okay,
you know,
Taran.
you know we have like a relationship. Like we've talked about it
He's
before.
saying
that's
I'm
why I'm
terrible
saying
and
it
wants
on
to
the
take me
podcast.
further.
That's why I'm making a statement on the podcast. Come on,
Okay,
don't blow up our final two, dude.
so Taran, I imagine you
Good.
also, Taran, you're a big fan of the Dom and Colin podcast. You've been on with Colin a few times, so I imagine you're probably taking Colin to final two, right? Just like Brent.
Oh no, Dom first for sure.
Oh, but Dom's not in this because Dom didn't live
Okay,
with
fine.
us.
No, no way. Colin's like smarter than all you guys, so I gotta take him out first.
Oh, so Colin's getting targeted first. Oh, wow, there you go. Go follow Colin on Twitter and check out the Dom and Colin podcast. He's at Colin Stone. I don't know out of who I would target out of you guys. Personally, I think I would just volunteer to go on the block myself because that worked so well last time. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think
You'd
about
probably
that one.
target me because you get tired of me talking about comedy all the time.
No,
And
Alex,
sitcoms and whatever.
Alex, I'll be honest, I was busting your balls, but that made my trip. How much you were trying to convince us to watch that show.
His denial about it was his denial about it the next night was the best part.
I thought Jordan was painting a very inaccurate picture. I'm not gonna deny certain circumstances, but Jordan's making me out to be some kind of
Well, no, I didn't complain about it because I've been the Alex before in that situation. Like I've been the person who's like, no, you guys need to watch this. Like it's a really good show, and like
it'll change your lives.
And you can tell your friends are like totally indifferent to it, and you're like sort of like awkward, like trying to get out of it. Like, but no, yeah, it didn't work, Alex. No.
Okay, people in the chat, please, if you could get thinking on the hashtag quickly, because we're gonna wrap things up here very shortly. Alex, what is the name of that show on TNT for people to watch and for me to watch it? Because I'm done school in about 5 weeks, so when that's done, I will make sure to sit down and watch an episode.
It's on TBS, but it's technically the same thing because they mutual. Angie Tribeca with Rashida Jones. It's written by Steve Carell and his wife Nancy Walls. I like it.
Okay, so Angie Tribeca. So we'll go hashtag watch Angie Tribeca. Hashtag thoughts some thoughts. I think was that good. Do we want to go with that?
Some thoughts. That has to be it.
That has to be it, right?
Thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll roll with that. Okay, guys, thank you for joining us for this edition of the Reality TV RHAPpy Hour. I had a lot of fun. It's always great when we get the whole live feed crew together to talk about the episode. So, Alex, Brent, Taran, thank you guys for being so generous with your time. It was a pleasure as always.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so this Wednesday we will be back on the RHAPpy Hour. Brent will be joining me once again. That's just lots of Brent and JP for you guys.
Lots of Brent.
Yeah, making up for the week that Brent was away on vacation. So Brent is going to be on with me this Wednesday, and as long as he doesn't get sick, Zach Olenek from Big Brother Canada 3 will be joining me on the RHAPpy Hour. First time since the RHAPpy Hour has been a thing that Zach will be on the show.
Newport's
and actually,
back together.
Yeah, Newport is back together, and it's very close to Zach's birthday and my eviction. It's on the 20th, so very, very ironic how that works out. So that should be a fun show. We'll break down what's going on. Hopefully we'll have some more information in terms of what's actually going on with the eviction this week by then, but who knows? You never know with Big Brother Canada. Don't forget to follow all these guys. Alex is at Alex Kidwell, Taran is at Armstrong Taran, and Brent is at One Lucky Gay. I'm at Jordan Parhar. And make sure to subscribe to the RHAPpy Hour. Go to robhasawebsite.com/RHAPpy Hour. That's happy hour with an R at the front. And while you're there, leave a rating and a review for the podcast. At the end of the season, 3 people will be winning a Jordan Parhar-related prize for leaving reviews. So please do so if you haven't already. For those of you who have been leaving them, I really do appreciate it. We've been getting a lot more recently, so that means a lot. Okay, for Alex Kidwell, Brent Wolgamott, and Taran Armstrong, I'm Jordan Parhar. Hashtag thoughts some thoughts. Hashtag watch Angie Tribeca. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace out.